Your brain is approximately 3 pounds of biological matter. Inside it, about 86 billion neurons are firing right now, creating an electrical storm of unimaginable complexity. And yet somehow, all of that is creating this. Your experience, the redness of red, the taste of coffee, the feeling of confusion right now as you try to understand how any of that works. Scientists can map your brain activity. They can tell you exactly which neurons fire when you see the color red. But here's the unsolved problem that keeps neuroscientists awake at night. They still can't explain why you experience that color. Where does consciousness come from? And why haven't we solved this yet? Let me clarify something important. We've solved a lot. This is called the easy problems of consciousness. Not because they're actually easy, but because they're, well, solvable. We can explain why you pull your hand back from a hot stove. That's reflexive action. Signal travels from your fingers to your spinal cord to your muscles. No conscious experience required. We can explain why you recognize faces. Your brain has a specific region, the fusiform face area, that processes facial recognition. Damage it, and you can't recognize faces anymore. Problem solved. We can explain attention, memory consolidation, emotional regulation. We can map which brain regions are active during sleep, during dreams, during meditation. These aren't trivial problems, but they're solvable with the tools of neuroscience. The neuroscientist David Chalmers in 1995 drew a critical distinction. He called all of these the easy problems, and he called the remaining mystery the hard problem of consciousness. The hard problem is this: why does the firing of neurons feel like something? I can tell you that when light hits your retina, it creates a signal that travels to your visual cortex, and neurons fire in a very specific pattern. I can show you the exact neurons. I can map the entire causal chain from photon to neural activation. But I cannot explain, using the tools of physics and biology, why that neural activation feels like seeing the color red. A philosopher named Frank Jackson created a thought experiment called Mary's Room. Imagine Mary has lived her entire life in a black and white room. She's studied neuroscience exhaustively. She knows every fact about color, the wavelengths of light, the neural activity in the visual cortex when people see colors. She understands the physics completely. Then one day she leaves the room and sees the color red for the first time. Does she learn something new? The intuitive answer is yes. She learns what red looks like. And that's the hard problem. All the physical facts in the world don't seem to explain subjective experience. There's something about consciousness that can't be reduced to pure information. Why haven't we solved this? Because there's something called the explanatory gap. No matter how much neuroscience progresses, we can't seem to bridge the gap between physical facts and subjective experience. Consider this. I can explain the function of pain. Pain is a warning system. Neurons fire, a signal travels to your brain. You recognize the threat, you withdraw. That's the easy problem. But why does pain hurt? Why isn't it just information? We could theoretically process the exact same data, tissue damage detected, without any unpleasant feeling. But it does hurt. There's a qualitative badness to pain that seems separate from its function. Philosophers call the subjective qualities of experiences qualia. The redness of red is a quale. The painfulness of pain is a quale. And we still don't know why physical processes generate qualia. There have been multiple proposed solutions, and none of them are fully satisfying. Dualism. Maybe consciousness isn't physical. Maybe it's a separate substance or force. But that creates more problems than it solves. How does a non-physical mind interact with a physical brain? How did that arise in evolution? Physicalism. Maybe consciousness is entirely physical, and we just haven't found the right level of analysis yet. But physicalists have been saying, we just need better science for 150 years, and the explanatory gap hasn't narrowed much. Panpsychism. Maybe consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like mass and charge. Maybe it's not generated by the brain. The brain filters it. This is gaining serious consideration among some philosophers, but it's deeply counterintuitive. The reason we cover the deepest, most unsolved problems in science is because these are the questions that matter. Not just academically, but philosophically. They change how you think about being human. If you want to explore the frontier of what we actually know versus what we just assume, subscribe to Science Trap. We break down the mysteries that academia is still wrestling with. Now here's where it gets even stranger. In the last 10 to 15 years, some genuinely novel proposals have emerged, and some of them are being taken seriously. Integrated Information Theory, IIT. Giulio Tononi at the University of Wisconsin proposed that consciousness arises from integrated information. Basically, when a system integrates information across its different parts, it generates consciousness. The more integrated and complex, the more conscious. The radical implication. Anything that integrates information is conscious to some degree. A thermostat integrates information minimally, so it's barely conscious. A human brain integrates information massively, so you're very conscious. But a sufficiently complex AI, or even a group of highly coordinated humans,